IB Times UK recently met Box CEO Aaron Levie to talk about his company's expansion from Silicon Valley to London. But we also wanted to know how a cloud storage company like Box reassures its customers following the revelations of data gathering by the NSA and GCHQ. We also spoke about how Box tries to stand out from a crowded market, the challenges faced by tech companies looking to IPO, and how Box uses a freemium business model. How does a company in your sort of industry, in your sector of the market, how does it reassure its customers that their data is safe, given the recent sort of NSA, GCHQ revelations? How do you, not to say that you're participating in any way, but how do you just reassure customers in that industry that their data is safe?
Yeah, and you know, to be really clear, it's obviously extremely bad what the NSA has done, and both the sort of actions that they've taken and the inaction of not talking about the oversight and the checks and balances that exist. And there's not a lot of visibility, as much as we would like, between the relationship of the tech industry and NSA. So we're optimistic that those set of factors will change and will evolve.
And going back slightly, given those revelations, is it best for a company like yourself to keep quiet until you're named? Or is it better to actually say, hey guys, this is our standpoint from this?
Well, fortunately, we aren't involved in a lot of the things that sort of were talked about or exposed. It's just the nature of our business. Because we deal more in the enterprise, it's not a lot of the type of communication and internet activity that the National Security Agency is interested in from a US standpoint. So the good news is, like, we don't actually have a lot that is sort of brings us into this world. So it's more from both a personal and a philosophical standpoint that we believe that the tech industry and the government just needs to find better ways of working together, because the way that things are set up today are not tenable, and we need to make sure that gets improved. And you know, we might participate in some small way in helping improve those relations, but I think it's going to be more the role of a Google or a Facebook to drive a lot of that change.
Okay. How does Box sort of differentiate itself from its competitors? I was trying to describe your company to a friend the other day, and they said, "Oh, like Dropbox." How do you say? How do you know where?
I think, you know, for the average end user of our technology, Dropbox and Google Drive and SkyDrive, a bunch of these solutions from Microsoft and Apple and Google, we're all going to look very similar at the end user level. Our differentiation really is taking that level of simplicity and approach for the end user and marrying that with an enterprise strategy that lets the CIO of a company scale out and sanction Box for their entire set of employees. And that's why companies like Schneider Electric and eBay and Eli Lilly and Disney are able to deploy Box, is because they can scale it out to thousands or tens of thousands of employees, but still get that same level of end user simplicity that you get from consumer technologies. And that's ultimately how we differentiate.
And so you're looking at an IPO in the near future?
Well, I certainly can't comment on kind of any timing around that, but you know, the path that we're on is certainly to build an independent company that, you know, could potentially IPO.
Sure. Given Facebook's IPO and that sort of rocky 12 months that had, has that made sort of some tech companies think twice about doing that?
I think it makes you think twice about how you do that, not necessarily to IPO or not to IPO. I think there's a series of particular factors that led to the 12 months of rockiness. And you know, as you can even tell from like the latest numbers, things have improved dramatically, because ultimately it was a very healthy business that happened to, again, due to the circumstance of how they went public, you know, increase some of the negative perception, when in reality they actually had a very strong business. So I think that there's just lessons that any business leader or organization should learn from that process.
Okay. And moving forward a bit, I mean, you guys have been around since 2005. You've seen the explosion of mobile and the move from desktop to mobile.
Yes.
Let's go forward another 2 years. What's happening there? Is it carrying on at the same level? Do you think you've got control of that now?
I think from a strategy standpoint, you're going to see Box evolve even more over the next couple of years from a mobile perspective. When we started the company, mobile was sort of a glimmer out in the future, but it wasn't sort of as strong and central to what we do today as it is now. And what that means is our company as well needs to evolve with the changing characteristics and dynamics of how people are working and how they're sharing. And mobile and cloud come together to dramatically transform how businesses work, right? It means at any point in time, any person in any business can access all of their critical information and share with anyone. That changes everything about the enterprise and everything about the workplace. And we need to make sure that Box is a core platform and core tool in that future way of working.
Just lastly then, you said you've got 20 million users now. Is that a new figure, or?
We announced it at BoxWorks about a month and a half ago.
It's about 20 million then.
Yep.
How many of those are sort of paying for your service?
Yeah, well, so the way our business model works is it's a freemium service.
Yeah.
So the vast majority of those users are not paying anything, and they're just using Box to share and collaborate in and outside of their business. And then a smaller subset of businesses are then paying for the service that want to scale up the security and the compliance and all of the integration in their organization. Yeah. So we don't give that figure out, but it's a large number, and it's producing we think a very strong business.
And that freemium model then, is that the future of business? Is that how businesses have to work? We have to give this free to the majority?
I don't think you have to. I think it's our distinct competitive advantage over a traditional incumbent technology company. Yeah. There's lots of markets that don't have freemium products that do incredibly well. For our space and for our strategy, we determined that was the best way to enable end users to be successful with our tool, was to make sure that at any time they could sign up for Box and bring it into their organization for free without any friction. And that allows us to grow at sort of an exponential rate within organizations. But that's not a requirement or even the best strategy for other types of companies.